Hey everyone, welcome back to the Faith Now podcast. We're so excited to have you today because we are starting another two-part series. This one is going to be about the window of opportunity. Today, Pastor Toby is going to share the incredible story in 2 Kings, and we couldn't be more excited to have you join us today for this episode. So let's go ahead and get into it. Here's Pastor Toby.
Hey, thank you for tuning into this podcast today. I want to remind you that you matter. You matter to God. I want to talk to you today about the window of opportunity. There's an incredible story. I think you're going to be glad that you tuned into this podcast as I share this incredible story with you from 2 Kings chapter 13. Elisha had been suffering from an illness, this powerhouse prophet, from which he would die from this illness. And Joash, the king of Israel, went down to see him. And he wept over him. He cried. And he said, my father, the chariots and horsemen of Israel. Okay, let's pause there for just a second and break this down. First of all, no king does this. Kings do not go see dying old people, more or less old dying prophets. The kings just don't do that. I mean, it's like the president going to visit you or me if we were sick, if we were ill. And even your state representative won't even come and see you probably if you're dying, or me. But here we have a powerful king who goes and he visits this powerhouse prophet, and then he does something else that kings do not do, especially in public. He weeps and he cries. So what's going on here? What's happening? What's happening? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I'm going to tell you. Elisha was the seer for the nation of Israel. It was his divine insight that gave them their victories, and the new king wanted him one more time and wanted to talk to him one more time before the window of opportunity would close. How many of you know that all opportunities are not created equal? Every opportunity has an expiration date. He wants to hear the word of the Lord one more time before this window of opportunity closes. So he went down to see him, which was really uncommon for kings to do, but he was in a desperate situation. Sometimes it's in our desperate situations that will drive you or me to God for guidance. The window's closing. He's weeping over the loss of this great prophetic figure. What are we going to do without you? See, it wasn't the troops that won the battles. It was the word of God through the prophet Elisha that brought the victory. We don't know that, we don't understand it, but this powerhouse prophet knew and understood that they didn't know what they were going to do without this prophet Elisha. And they were panicking. So Elisha told him, he said, get a bow and get some arrows. And, that's my favorite part of the whole story because I'm a proud Choctaw Indian, So I'm really relating now. This is cool. Getting some bow and some arrows. Okay, you're talking to me. And he did that. He did so. Now, don't miss this, because God's about to teach us how to fight on a spiritual level. You see, you've been fighting on a physical level, and that's why you've been losing. That's why you've been so tired. That's why you're exhausted. Elisha said, take the bow in your hands. And he said to the king of Israel, when he had taken it, Elisha put his hands on the king's hands, and he gave him guidance, divine guidance from the man of God. The key verse, I think, in this passage is the phrase, open the east window. You notice the prophet didn't open it for him. He told him to open it. You see, we've been asking God to give us opportunities, and God's just been waiting for us to seize the opportunities. We're waiting for God to open the window, and God has given you a window, and God's waiting for you to open the window. The window that he's shown you, the opportunities that he's shown you and me. Open the east window, he said. So he opened it. And Elisha said, shoot. And he shot. And the Lord's arrow of victory, the arrow of victory over Aram, Elisha declared, you will completely destroy the enemies. The arrow of victory over Aram, the arrow of victory over depression, the arrow of victory over addiction, the arrow of victory over rebellion, the arrow of victory over your doubts, the arrow of victory over bitterness, the arrow of victory over discouragement. You see, I am seeing the victory in my life. See the victory in your life. You have to aim at it, or you'll never hit it. You see, if you don't aim at being a better person, you'll never be a better person. If you don't aim at being a better parent, you'll never be a better parent. If you don't aim at being a better husband or a better wife, you'll never hit it. If you don't aim at being a better friend or a better Christian, if you don't aim at being just, listen, a better person, you're never going to hit it. You have to aim at something. Are you aiming at it? Am I aiming at something? You see, I feel real sorry for this king, King Joash. I do, because I understand his predicament. I understand what would bring him to Elisha in such a desperate state. To understand his plight, you need to understand the pattern. You see, all the kings that had gone on before him, his examples that he had before him were so negative. They were half-hearted kings, and they tried to fulfill their God-given role in their own way. And when you're stuck in that kind of pattern, the defeat almost comes automatically, and defeat is in sight. You ever step into a situation that you didn't think you were prepared for? If you're a mom or a dad, you should certainly be aware of that, because you're never really prepared to be a parent. You know, I always get a kick out of these cocky parents that read all these baby books that were written by people who were never parents. Listen, you're never prepared to be a parent. And here's a transition made, a new king, and he's doing it without Elisha, the powerhouse prophet, and he sees this window of opportunity closing. And before this window closes, he goes to this powerhouse prophet. He wants some final instructions from the man of God, and he wants to know what to do next. He's weeping because Elisha's dying, and also because the pressure he's under as a king, and he's feeling the pressure from the north, the south, the east, the west, and he feels like he's being attacked from every side, over here and over there, and maybe, just maybe, you can relate to his predicament. You're getting attacked from every side, maybe. Having a hard time at work, and then you go home and you're having a hard time at home. And sometimes it's easier to be at work than it is to be at home. And one thing is, listen, when you get pressure coming from one direction, then you get it coming from another direction, and it's coming from every side, it can get overwhelming. Being pressured from every direction. No wonder he's weeping. No wonder he's made this trek, as uncommon as it was for a king to go see this dying prophet. No wonder he's so desperate. He's kneeling and he's crying, and he says, my father, my father. Maybe you're there. Maybe, what do I do? I'm attacked by my finances. I'm attacked by my family. I'm under attack internally, externally. Seems like I can't get a break. Seems like I can't get any relief. What do I do? And he wants comfort. This king wants comfort, but Elisha, he doesn't give him comfort. No, he doesn't give him comfort. But he does give him instructions. Because God is a God of action. And he gives him a simple instruction. Doesn't say go home and sing Amazing Grace till you feel better and everything will be all right. No, he tells him to get a bow and to get an arrow. Now here's a huge takeaway from this talk today, guys. Don't miss this, see. You're not going to experience victory if you're still weeping over what is dying. You're not going to experience victory in this season if you're still stuck in the memory of the last season. I mean, who am I talking to today? Get your bow and get some arrows. I mean, that fires me up, man. As a Choctaw Indian, man, I'm preaching now. I'm talking now. This prophet's speaking my language. Because listen, everything you need for victory, watch this. Everything you need for victory in this season is within your reach. You have a window of opportunity. Seize the opportunity. The old prophet and this young new king, and he puts his hands on his hands, and he showed him three things. And guess what? I'm going to share those 3 things with you next week for part 2 of seizing your opportunities. Yeah, I'm going to leave you hanging here and leave you hanging. It's got like a Netflix series to it, doesn't it? So you better tune in to the next episode, because I'm going to teach you next week what the 3 keys were that he gave this king, and the 3 keys that you and I can have to seize the opportunity on this window of opportunity. So I'm going to leave you hanging there. So you need to tune in to the next episode, and we're going to give you the keys to how you can seize every opportunity God's given you. Thanks for watching this podcast. Cherish is going to come on and give you some more information. Remember to stay strong, faith strong. God bless you. Be sure and tune in next week for episode 2, and I'll give you the final things that you need to know on how to live in victory and how to seize the opportunity. God bless you.
Hey, thank you guys again for tuning in to today's episode. We hope that you come back next Thursday for part 2 of this series. It's going to be an episode that's full of keys to walking in victory, so we don't want you to miss that. And also, if you can join us this Sunday, we have 2 services. We have a traditional service at 9 a.m., a contemporary service at 10:30, or as always, you can watch online at 10:30 if you can't join us in person. Also, make sure you check out our website, faithchurchnow.com. You can find information about our church and look at events and other places that you can get plugged in. So we hope to see you Sunday, and until then, stay strong, faith strong.